Cancer number 2 for 2020. And what a unique gift this second new moon in Cancer is for us. So first I'd like to explain a little bit about why that's important and what the energies are about tonight. And we'll dive right into a lovely Yin Yoga practice, followed by a sound bath. So, new moon in Cancer number 2. This is unusual. So normally the way the moons work is the new moons will go in the order of the zodiac. So the zodiac starts with the sign of Aries, and then it would go into Taurus, Gemini, and so on. And so these are the signs of the moons. The moons would normally totally go in that order. But we have a gift this time. This time around, we have this gift where we get a second new moon in Cancer. So to learn why this is such a gift, I think it's actually important to go back to the first one that we just had last month and just kind of review what that was about, because it will inform this one. So last month, our new moon in Cancer was also an eclipse. And it was a really big door closing shut on this old 35-year cycle. Yeah, yes, exactly. It's like celebration moments. Yes. This it's a good feeling to shut the door on this 35-year cycle. Absolutely. There's been some stuff that systems-wise, organizations, ways of being in society that just was no longer working. And so it is amazing that we can shut the door on that moment. But of course, with all endings, there's always some pain. Every ending, yes, there's a new beginning, but that transition is not always comfortable and easy. And that's with little endings. But we just had a really big shift, a really big pivot point. So this is a bigger ending with a bigger, a lot more oomph. So even though it's an exciting time and it's a great ending, that doesn't mean that it's an easy ending. So what are we talking about with this whole ending? It's ending ways of being in the world, ways of interacting in society, ways of organizations running, ways of the order we've been used to, systems, organization. But it's also, because this was in the sign of Cancer, Cancer is all about emotions. So a big ending was in how we used to feel about things. How we used to feel about ourselves. How we used to feel about our life and our purpose. How we feel about our home and our family and our place within that. And then especially how we feel about our emotions. So it's a great time because we get to now feel differently about ourselves in a really positive way. We get to create this new 35-year foundation for like a really new way of being with ourselves, right? That really honors our own unique individuality. That's what we're being called to do. To honor who we are, to be very unique and individual in that, and to stop saying yes to things that really don't feel good, to start saying no to things that we don't want to do, right? To really, really line up with who we are. So this is good news, but that can be hard because that means we're losing parts of ourselves that we're really used to. This is a time to change how we feel about other people. Oh man, one of the biggest lessons I've been learning lately is that every time I'm like mad at somebody else, darn it, it's just showing me what I'm doing. Oh, I hate that. I love it at the same time. That's such a tough one. It's so liberating actually when when you really feel it. We'll go more into that. Yeah, so times to start really changing how we feel about other people for the better, for the positive. I think we're all becoming more inclusive, less judgmental. It's a process, of course, but this is the direction we're going. These feelings we're changing, we're being asked to change, right? Feelings about our purpose and to let ourselves line up with that. And so that last month, that was when this started. This started. We're in it now. We're in the new 35-year cycle. It started, but it's just the baby steps of it. It's just the baby beginning. And so what might have happened for you this last month? A few things could have happened. One, you haven't been making any changes yet. Maybe you're still really resisting change. You're like, nah, I am not ready to move into this new life. I don't even know what you're talking about. I have no idea about anything new. And I'm like, no, I'm still waiting for things to go back to the way they used to be. That might be where you're at. That might be what this month was like. Or maybe you were like making some changes and you were making like a lot of changes, but they didn't work. Like they ended up still being like the old way. You thought it was new. You thought you were moving into a new, but no, you accidentally were still using old patterns. Or you were using new stuff, but they still just weren't the right, like still like weren't working. It was still just like not working. Or perhaps a third option, a third thing, you might have been doing a lot of work and maybe some things are working out. Like it's still just not quite like you're feeling like there's still a lot to go. And so what that is all around is because yes, we had this huge new request of the universe. It was kind of like the universe is like our teacher. And they gave us this huge assignment. And so some of us were those students who like, right, we didn't do it yet. We didn't do it. We were like not doing any work on it. Right. And now the teacher's like, okay, you haven't done anything. I'm going to give you another new moon in Cancer so you can start it. Okay. So this is your second chance. You got 2 more weeks. All right. Yeah. You got 2 more weeks. Start going on it now. Or again, those students who like were really working but weren't doing it the right way. The teacher's like, okay, that didn't work, but again, you can try again. So this is your, start over and try again. Or for those of you that were really working hard, but it's still not quite done, the teacher has seen this and they're just like, yeah, you've been working really hard. This has actually become a bigger thing than I thought, and I'm going to give you a 2-week extension because like you're doing really well with it. I want to see where you can take it. So that's what this new moon is. It's like take two. It's like we get to do it again. The universe doesn't usually give us this extra time. It's really cool. It's actually a gift. It's not that we like didn't do it right. It's just this is such a big change. We need a little more time to be with it. And the really cool thing is that the first one we had last week, it was an eclipse, which means it was more intense. Normally, if things are repeated, the second one is more intense. You know, like in our language, we would be like, you know, like I really, really love you. Or like, no, I don't want to do that, right? Like we would normally emphasize the second one. This time, no, the eclipse happened first. The eclipse was more intense. This one was more like I have to let you go. Okay, I'm ready to let it go. So yeah, the first bit was really intense. It was the hard part. Now we're kind of getting used to it. And it's still hard, but we're getting used to it. So it's gonna be a little easier this round. This time we're really ready to feel. So if we're really looking to shut the door on the past, there's just a few feelings where we still haven't really dealt with. So there's probably some anger around things you're trying to end. Probably still some fear around like, what's it gonna be like without that? And then some grief. Because even though it's a great new beginning, there's still some loss. So that's where Yin Yoga comes in. I would normally do shaking with you, and shaking is still a really great tool for this current time. But I was really drawn to do Yin with you tonight. Those who have done yoga with me live before are used to restorative yoga. Restorative yoga is very, it's all about full relaxation. Whereas Yin is a little more active, yet still gentle. But Yin gives us a little toning, kind of like the cleansing of sound. Yin yoga is going to give us a little extra cleansing too. And it helps us go into a really deep place where we sit with whatever is. So it's a great tool to learn how to sit with those uncomfortable emotions like anger, anxiety, or sadness and grief. And the beautiful thing is that's all we actually have to do. We just have to sit with them. If we want to heal them, we really just have to feel them. But instead, we try to think ourselves out of it, right? We try to like problem solve and make ourselves feel better. We try to stop feeling it, which is normal. Of course, we want to do that. But unfortunately, that actually like prevents us from healing. All we need to do is actually be with it. And that's what we do in Yin Yoga. We just be in a pose and we just spend the time in it. And that's all you have to do. You just have to be in the pose. And that's what the feelings are asking us to do. That's what this moon is asking us to do, is to feel. To feel all the old feelings in order to stop feeling them. Usually we try to stop feeling them by avoiding them totally. I think this would be a really good video to watch back again. You can kind of take note of where the practice begins and use this practice in full for the next, as many times as you wish for the next couple of weeks, especially while the energy is here really strong. This is the perfect time, this second new moon, to clear up all those old things. It's kind of like that cleanup now. And you can use these poses and then the sounds to ease that process so that you can now step into the next 35 years as like a brand new way. In the way that you were actually like born to be doing. So, what I'd love to invite you to do is, if you don't have the props, it's totally okay. You still can do everything like on a bed if you prefer. And I'll give other options for that. But if you'd like to give the yoga poses a try, I do invite you to come to the floor, either on a yoga mat or blanket. Take the time now just to set your camera up in a way that you can see it while you're in your position of choice. You'll want to make sure you have things like blankets. At least one, but several are always good to have around. If you happen to have yoga blocks, you can grab them. If you don't, it's okay. Instead, you could get extra pillows. You might wish to use a bolster. What is a bolster? This thing. If you don't have a bolster, it's okay. Instead, grab tons of extra pillows, like a bunch. 4 or 5 if you can, maybe extra couch cushions. If you happen to have lots of fun things at home, you might even have something that looks like this. It's a wedge. You don't have to have this. Again, a blanket will work. Blocks will work. But if you happen to have one of these or a meditation cushion, you might wish to grab that now. An eye pillow if you have it. But again, not a requirement, just a nice little addition. And water. Have some water handy. If you don't have water, take the time right now to go grab some. And maybe even start with a little water. Taking a drink and enjoying the sensation of water in your mouth and as you swallow. Cancer is a water sign. And so we can even enhance the energies of this new moon simply by drinking a little more water, by enjoying water like baths, pools, even just splashing water on the face. And while you're setting yourself up, why don't you take your water and if you can, just give it a little swirl. Mine's in a bottle, so I'm not in danger of it swirling out, but if yours is in a cup, you might want to find a gentler swirl. But this swirling motion actually activates your water. It kind of shakes it up just like we shake up our bodies. opens up the water, gives it a little more oxygenation, oxygen, find out how to pronounce that word. It helps the oxygen flow through it. Good. Notice which direction you've been spinning your water. If you're going counterclockwise or clockwise, just notice. And if you're already going counterclockwise, don't change it. But if you're going counterclockwise, I just invite you to imagine bringing something in, something you want. Maybe like ease, love, whatever it might be. If you're going clockwise, I want you to imagine sending something out, something you're ready to release. So maybe that old way of approaching somebody, or an old way of communicating, or something that unique to you. And whatever you're either spinning out or spinning in, stay with it for a little moment longer. And then slow it down. Go ahead and take a drink of your own water-filled intention for tonight's practice. The healing power of water to help us flow more easily and adapt to this new cycle. Go ahead and take a seat now. I like to always sit on some support. Take a seat that is supported either with a blanket or up on a block. Sit on a bolster or a wedge. But give yourself some support to sit on so that your own hip bones or pelvic bones are actually higher than the knees. If I don't use support, my knees become higher than my pelvic bones. Yet with support, I'm able to sit with my knees lower than the pelvic bones. This allows me to sit with greater ease. Let yourself take the time to set yourself up with that support underneath you from Mother Earth. Root down into that support now by scooping your tailbone down like an anchor into the ground. Breathe in and grow long from hips all the way up to your armpits, growing long and wide. Exhale, take shoulders up and back. Go ahead and breathe in now and lift the heart as you look gently up towards the sky, creating a big curve in your low back. And then as you exhale, scoop the tailbone down, rounding the back and shoulders, looking down towards your chest. Inhale, rise back up, lifting the tailbone, arching the back as you look up, seated cow. Exhale, scoop the tailbone round the back and shoulders, seated cat. Find a few more of these at your own breath pace, breathing in and breathing out. Warming up the body with just a few gentle warm-ups before we go right into the yin practice. Inhale and rise back up to center. Bring your finger pads behind you for a moment and switch the legs. Switch the crossing of your legs so the other leg is on top. Find the floor with your finger pads. Root down more through the left fingers. Inhale, rise up with the right arm and reach up and over the head towards the left with the right arm, side stretch. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, find the floor. Inhale, reach the left fingertips up and stretch from hips all the way up to the armpit. Exhale, take it up and over towards the right. Inhale, back up center, and exhale, find the floor. Inhale, the opposite arm up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, center. Exhale, find the floor. Inhale, the opposite arm up. Exhale, reach up first and then over. Inhaling up. Exhale, find the floor. One more time, each side. Inhale up. Exhale, bending towards the side. Inhale, center. Exhale, find the floor. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. And exhale, find the floor. Once again, take those fingertips behind you so that you can cross your legs. Switching the cross of the legs the other way, bringing balance to the body by keeping left and right sides equal. Gentle, gentle twist. Inhale, bring your hands up towards center in front of you. Exhale and take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand just lightly behind you. From here, inhale, grow long from hips to pits. And as you exhale, hug belly button back towards your spine as you gently twist your heart just a tiny bit towards your left knee. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hug belly in and maybe twist a tiny bit more. One more time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hug belly in as you gently twist. Inhale, back to center. Take the arms with you for a moment. Extend. Exhale, release. Bring hands behind you. Back on the fingertips. Switch the crossing of your legs one final time. Inhale, bring the arms up towards center. Exhale, take your left hand to your right knee, your right hand behind you. Inhale, grow long from hips to armpits as long as you can. Exhale, hug belly in as you gently bring your heart towards your right knee. Inhale, grow a little longer. Exhale, hug belly in and twist a tiny bit more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, last little twist. Inhale, back towards center, taking the arms with you. Extend the arms out. Exhale, interlace the fingers, send the palms forwards. Breathe in. Breathe out. And release the fingers. Our first yin pose. In the yin tradition, this pose is called butterfly. Bring the soles of your feet together while still sitting on your support. If you have a bolster, Just going to turn to the side for a moment to show you. You might wish to use the bolster at a little angle in front of you, at a distance where you can rest your forehead. And you can play with that distance as to how close to the body and a little more upright, or how far away and a little longer away. If you don't have a bolster, this is where a bunch of pillows come in really handy. Stack them on top as high as you like so that you can comfortably rest your head. There's nothing wrong with staying mostly upright if you have enough pillows. Depending on your body today, wherever you're at today, knowing that our bodies change day to day based on the activities we're doing, based on our moon cycle, based on a lot of different things. Perhaps your body today wants even more of a stretch, in which case some blocks could be useful, stacked on top of each other, yet still at a height where you can comfortably rest your head. Some people might find they don't even want these props at all if you can comfortably reach the floor. I'm not able to demo that myself, but if you can do that, you are welcome to do that. Personally, I like to use a really high support so that I can relax as much as possible. Even though there's a little work in yin, we still want to be able to relax. We'll be here for about 2 minutes. So let's take a moment, now that you know where you're going, just to really set your body up for full comfort. And I'm just going to start the music now as well. So as you take your seat, bringing the soles of your feet together, take a moment with your hands to manually turn your thighs in, back, behind you, and widen the buttocks apart. Turn them in, back, behind you, widening the buttocks apart. Inhale, find as much length as you can from hips to armpits. As you exhale, begin to lean forward, keeping as flat a back as you can. When you find your edge, that place where you're like, not going to go any further, that's where you let your back round and find the support now for your forehead. Find a position with your blocks so that you can comfortably and fully relax the back of your neck. Relax the head down onto the blocks or bolster. As best you can, let your arms hang down. Give yourself permission to move the body until you feel like you found your edge where you can comfortably wait. If there's pain, that's a sign you need to back off. But so long as there's no pain, the next 2 minutes move or change. What emotions come up? Just a little while longer. Be there. Be here. Now. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Then inhale and gently look forward, lift your heart, and help yourself rise back up seated. Bring your hands under your knees and help lift your knees back up. It might feel like you can barely move. That's normal after these poses. For just a moment, bring your finger pads behind you, take your feet wide, and windshield wiper your feet, your knees, side to side. That pose we just did, butterfly, helps us release any old anger. So as you now just windshield wiper these knees side to side, just imagine wiping away any last residual anger, frustrations, annoyances from this new situation we find ourselves in. Let yourself wash away any old angers from the past that you're ready to leave in the past now. And now I invite you to find your way into a lunge pose, but be sure you have a blanket on the mat ready to use underneath your knees. Take the time to set up a blanket for under your knees, and then make your way onto hands and knees on the mat. Bring your knees just about under the hips, maybe slightly behind the hips. Toes tucked under. Bring your hands about shoulder width apart, just slightly ahead of the shoulders. So we don't want the hands and knees too close. We want them nice and far so that you can have length from hips to armpits. And then from here, go ahead and bring your right foot forward in between your hands, leaving your left knee on the ground, left toes tucked under. For just a moment, bring your hands onto your right knee and back off of it. This next pose, the lunge pose, or dragon in the Yin sequence, This pose helps us open up the front of the thigh, the belly, which gets us into the psoas, stomach and spleen. This pose helps us release worry and anxiety. Yeah. But to get into it, we're actually not looking for a deep hip opener. Instead, what we're looking for is the belly, the front here. So, coming upright a little, I invite you first to lift your tailbone behind you, sticking your buttocks out behind you. And then scoop your tailbone down to the ground. You'll feel a stretch probably already through the front of your thigh. Keep scooping your tailbone down, 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 instead of letting it pop up and lift. Scoop it down. Keeping that, keep scooping down as you maybe lean forward any amount. Yes, let yourself feel the deep stretch through the front. Only if it feels good, let yourself find the ground or blocks or your knee. Otherwise, keep hands on hips. Then let your gaze come slightly downwards and just breathe. Step 1, we find our edge. Step 2, commit to stillness now. And step 3, be here. For just 2 minutes, be here. Breathe in. Let yourself relax into the pose. Become mindful of the sensation. Be with it. What does it feel like? Breathe into it. Stay with it. Notice the discomfort without trying to make it different or go away. Relax into it a little more. Find one more full breath in. One more full breath out. Bring your hands to the ground and slowly bring your front foot to the back. Tuck both toes under both feet and gently lift your knees up off the ground, sending hips up and back into downward dog. And then go ahead and look forward. Bring your left foot up in between your hands, bringing your right knee to the ground now. Dragon on the other side. Once again, tuck the back toes under for stability. Rise up. Inhale, lift the tailbone, creating that big curve in the low back. And then exhale, scoop the tailbone down to feel the stretch through the front of your right thigh. To open up the stomach, the spleen, the psoas. Keeping your tailbone scooped down, begin to lean forward any amount, but only to your edge. Don't push yourself into pain. Stay where your edge is, perhaps bringing your hands to the knee, to blocks or pillows. Finding your edge where you can comfortably relax into the stretch. Number one, we find the edge. Number two, we find stillness here. Soften your gaze. Breathe and let the body relax. As you now, number three, just be here. Just for 2 minutes, just be here with the sensation. And you relax a little more. Become curious about what you notice in your body, in your mind, in your feelings, knowing that all of it is meant to be here right now. Just be with it without trying to make it different. Let it be here. Find one more full breath in. One more full breath out. And gently, gently begin to bring your hands back to the ground. Slowly bring that left knee back towards the right knee. And rooting down into the hands, tuck the toes under both feet as you lift your knees up off the ground, taking hips up and back for a delightful stretch in downward dog. Perhaps take your dog for a walk for a moment, bending one knee as you reach the opposite heel down towards the ground, and then switch it out. Now go ahead and bring both knees back to the ground, back to that nice supported blanket. Keep your hips over your knees as you drop your elbows to the ground. Notice if your elbows are way behind your shoulders, closer to your knees. That's too close. Take your elbows ahead of the shoulders a little bit here. Then let your eyes look right down towards the ground. Allow the back of your heart, the back of your back here, to now sink into the front of the heart and try to melt the heart towards the ground. Don't worry, your chest doesn't have to reach the ground. Just melt the back of your heart towards the ground. Relax the head and neck completely. Your head might even land on the ground, but it doesn't have to. Melting heart pose. Find your edge here. How much can you relax the heart towards the ground. Commit to stillness here in melting heart pose. And notice what comes up for you. This pose, melting heart, helps us process grief and sadness and loss. Be here, now. Notice how you feel. Whatever you're feeling, it's okay. Let it be here. Let the back of the heart keep melting towards the front of the heart. Front of the heart keep melting towards the ground. Rooting down into the elbows. Inhale, lightly look up just enough to bring your knees wider, big toes touching. Let your hips rest back now towards your heels, child's pose. Pushing into the ground, give your whole back body a stretch here in child's pose. Slowly, slowly inhale and look up. Using your hands, help yourself rise back up onto hands and knees. Coming into seated position. Take your hands behind you. Lift your heart towards the sky and look up. Just a little counter seated camel pose. Inhale as you lift your heart looking up towards the sky. Exhale, lift your heart a little higher. And then inhale, rise all the way back up, seated naturally. Pause for just a moment here. Bring your hands to your heart. Breathe as if you could breathe in through the hands directly into the center of your chest. And breathe out as if you could breathe back out from the heart, back out through the hands. Breathing in, hands to heart. Breathing out, heart to hands. Notice the after effects from 3 Yin Yoga poses that help us process anger, anxiety, and grief. Notice what it was like to be with that for just a moment tonight. And now go ahead with the body now open. Go ahead and lie down to receive the sound bath. Take the time to set yourself up for full comfort. Letting yourself lie on a bed or the ground. Using perhaps a blanket, perhaps an eye pillow. You might wish to use a bolster or pillows under the knees. Or you may wish to keep your knees bent, bringing your feet wide with your knees touching. Notice what your body wishes to do. And give yourself permission to shift about until you feel absolutely comfortable. Take the time to ensure that the head is supported, perhaps with a pillow underneath or a blanket. Let your chin tuck in towards your chest, just slightly. Breathe as you settle in, letting the shoulders soften away from the ears, letting the shoulders soften down as if you could tuck them down like the corners of a bed. And along with these sacred sounds of the gongs, use your own letting go breath to help initiate your relaxation response. Breathing in through the nose, exhale, open mouth. Breathing in through the nose, exhale, open mouth. Last time. Let the breath return to its own natural pace. Listen. Listen to the gong. Notice how loud or how quiet it is. And can you let it be loud or quiet? Be with the sound of the gong as it is. Notice how the gong affects your body. Breath. Thoughts. Feelings, emotions. Let it be there. Let them be there. See them, feel them. Hear my voice as if from far away. Deepen your breath. Let each inhale and each exhale be longer, slower, and deeper than the one before. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Rotate the wrists and the ankles. Keep breathing and making these gentle movements with the body. You're reaching the arms up overhead and stretching from fingers to toes. Breathe, stretch, move. Big breath in. Letting go, breath out. 2 more of those. And one last one. Rolling over onto your right side if you're not there yet. Take a breath or two here in fetal position. Resting on your side. Take just a moment to pause. Notice how you feel now. The after effects. Using your hands now, go ahead and help yourself rise back up seated. Let's close tonight by coming here now. The past is done. The doors are closing, but we're here now. Raise your hands up to the sky, palms forward, and either think or say out loud, I. Bring your hands to frame your heart. Think or say out loud, am. Bring your hands to your legs. Think or say out loud, here. Then we return to the heart, back to the sky, to the heart, to the legs, to the heart, to the sky. Repeating these mudras with the hands over and over as you repeat silently or out loud, I am here. I am here. I am here. I am here. 3 more times. I am here. I am here. Last time. I am here. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Bring your palms together in front of your heart into Anjali Mudra, prayer. Take a moment to gaze down at your own hands. And pause for a moment of gratitude for yourself, for this practice, and for the new era before us. The light in me meets the light in you. Namaste.